Alright, so I figured if I'm going to do this, I might as well just jump right in and do one of the biggest, scariest topics first. So I'm going to talk about depression today. Yay! I think it's important to talk about right away just to kind of build that trust, and everyone doesn't want to talk about depression, but yet everyone is also depressed at the same time, and people think it's okay, and it's kind of like there's two sides of it. It's normalized to be like, oh yeah, everyone's depressed, whatever, but it's also like, oh, whatever, no one's depressed, we don't need mental health, and depressed people are crazy and sad and whatever. I don't know. There's two sides of it. Both of them are dumb. We shouldn't normalize it. People need help, and maybe people will stop dying. And I work in healthcare, so I see suicidal people all the time and have to sit with them and watch them, and it's very heartbreaking. So I'm hoping that we can knock out this scary topic, and hopefully it kind of helps, I guess, to talk about it. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to be depressed to a certain extent, but the goal of depression should kind of be to try to work through it. Obviously, there's depression on the level of brain neurotransmitters and that stuff. So if you are doing the things that you need to be doing to try to get better and it's really not working, that's okay. You can take something and try that. There's plenty of antidepressants out there. But there's also the side that if you don't leave your house and you don't exercise and try to make contact with people and you're stuck and you're continuing to be stuck, then it's time to start trying to make some changes to get through that, because you can get through that. And I'm not just speaking out of my butt, so it's also important for you guys to build a trust with me and know one of the biggest things I remember from being depressed, and I hear people who are depressed say all the time, this is your motto, you don't understand, or stuff like that, oh, people don't understand, but some people do, and I do. I remember constantly saying that to my mom when I was 15, oh, Mom, you just don't understand, and she kind of didn't, and I think that stems from everybody's depression is a little bit different, so maybe people really don't understand yours, but some people really do understand the feeling of being in this pit of darkness. And the thing with depression is you really don't see hope or getting out, and it's scary, and it's so hard to listen to people that are saying that things are going to get better when you're depressed, because you don't think so. And it sucks, but they're right, and you don't want to listen when you're sad. Why would you want to listen to someone that's annoyingly happy when you're sad? That's one of the most annoying things in the entire world. But another big factor when you're super sad is kind of finding that line with yourself to know if you're holding yourself back from being happy. What are you doing in your life that is holding you back? Are you not working out? Are you hanging around really toxic people? Are you just making really poor choices which are leading to you being in a deeper pit of depression? So there's kind of levels to it, and it's not an easy fix, obviously, otherwise we'd live in utopia, but not the case. So not an easy fix, of course, but it's a slow progression of finding your way to that magical light at the end of the tunnel, right? So first, I'll gain your trust a little bit, and I'll try to relate. So maybe you're watching and you are depressed, and it's hard, and I apologize that it's hard, because it sucks. That's just the truth. It just sucks. And I remember all of the feelings, especially younger. If you're in high school, oh my God bless you, because it's awful. High school is awful, and being depressed in high school is awful. Not that it's less awful when you're older, but still awful. So, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so I remember sitting in my car outside of my house in high school and just like crying and not wanting to go inside. I remember telling my mom that I thought I was an alien and that my brain was wired wrong, and I have kept notebooks since I was in like 6th grade, like diaries, journals, whatever you want to call it, and I remember I would just write and all the time about like my feelings, about being sad, being stuck. I didn't think I was going to ever graduate high school because I didn't think that my life was going to make it that far, and it's not necessarily like suicidal, like I had this big grand scheme, but it was just kind of like, I don't know, you don't see life going further when you're super depressed, which is what makes it hard because you have nothing to look forward to, which is a really key component in being happy, is looking towards the future. And if you don't have that component, it's really hard to be happy, which is one of the hard things with depression, is you don't see a way out and you don't see a future for yourself, so it's hard to have anything to look forward to make you happy. And I remember sometimes you're just there. Like I remember I would just sit there and I was like, oh, I should write, it'll make me feel a little bit better, but then I had like no words, and so literally I would write and I would say, I'm just empty, like my brain is just empty. And sometimes that's how it feels. You're just kind of like a carcass, like you're just sitting there in a shell of a body, but nothing's there, and that's hard. And I hope that you can get out of it. So I know how you feel slightly. Everybody's is different. Some of it's circumstantial, situational, whatever you want to call it. Maybe you're just in a bad phase of your life, or maybe you just really need to make changes and you don't know how, or you don't have the right building blocks or people around you to do that. But just know that you can do it and you can make it out, and that's part of my small little goal. Obviously I can't completely help, but maybe a little bit. So maybe the next video will be kind of goals, I guess, but I wanted to talk about depression. I think that more people should talk about it. It shouldn't be something that we tiptoe around, and if you're depressed, talk to someone. You can talk to me. I'll talk to you about your depression. Let's figure out what you want to do. Let's try to make it better. I'll go to the Y with you. I'll help you out. It's just, we're starting a new decade, 2020. I don't want to keep seeing people dying all around me, and I don't really want to keep sitting with 15, 16-year-olds that are suicidal, because I was 15 in an ICU once, waking up super confused because I told cops that I was going to kill myself and didn't even remember it. And it's not a good feeling. And I think sometimes it sucks hearing people tell you that it's going to get better, but here I am telling you that it's going to get better. And there's a lot of different ways that you can get to that step, but I want people to know that they can take that step. If you are waiting for a sign or for someone to tell you that it's time to take the step to get better or even slightly better. You don't have to be magic or free from it, but maybe let's step a little bit out of the darkness, slightly into the light. Let's go into a little gray area or something. But moving is still progressing, even if it's the tiniest little baby step. And I'll have plenty of videos on little things that help a little bit with being depressed, like social media, your friends, your routine. Honestly, having a routine and doing stuff that you love for yourself is really important. Being alone, which sounds bad, but being alone in a healthy way, like learning to be self-sufficient, independent, okay with being alone. I think that's a lot of times when people are depressed, they choose to be alone because sometimes it's hard to be around people when your brain isn't correct. But learning to kind of be around people in a better way, but also being okay with being with your own brain and sitting with your own demons and learning how to be okay with all of them and kind of fighting yourself. So those are all too many topics to fly through with just depression, but yeah, I'll have plenty of little tips and tricks on how to get through that. I just wanted to blow out the big topic. I know probably most of the people watching are struggling with depression, or I don't know, knowing someone that is, and it's not easy for you to do it, and it's not easy for the people around you that you love and care about to be going through that, and I would like to help. So maybe 2020 will be your year, right? I'm sure we've said that every year. So any questions or anything that people need to talk about or want to talk about? If you need any help, please get it. Let's shine some light.